Hello and welcome to another episode of What Do You Call It? Podcast. I'm your host, GB. Today's guest is a former CFFC strawweight champion, kickside martial arts school owner, and currently competes in the UFC strawweight division. Please welcome Elise Reed. Elise, how have you been this week? Well, it's only Monday, but at the time recording, but anything can happen early in the week.
Yeah, no, it's been a good Monday. Had a really nice weekend and ready to get to work. So yeah.
I know that doesn't stop for you. It's pretty much non-stop. Very versatile with what you do. At the time of recording, UFC London Fight Night just happened. We saw the retirement of Molly McCann and a loss for hometown favourite Leon Edwards. I was a bit gutted by that, to be fair. But I'm going to ask you specifically. The reason I mention it now is you're not a stranger to the UK,
Mhm.
specifically London, England. I,
Yeah.
you fought over here a few years ago, Corey McKenna. You got the decision. You won, victorious. Elise, please tell me about the fight itself and your overall experience over the UK.
It is my favorite. It was my favorite experience, honestly, to say the least. So, it was funny because we got the decision against Corey McKenna. I'm throwing the right hand and landing it like nobody's business. But the best part was we got to be in the stands for Patty and the other people that were on the card.
Yeah.
So we were changed. My family came. We're watching all the fighters and the fights after, and the atmosphere in the O2 is beyond me. It was something else. It was funny. I was walking across some people, getting to my seat, and I had a shirt on that had like strings,
Yeah.
and somebody tagged on it as a girl, and she goes, "What are you, a Viking?" And I go, "No, but I fought like one. Like I fought like one." And it took him probably 3 to 5 minutes where the friend, her friend next to her was like, "I think she probably fought." And she was, "Oh shit. Did you just fight?" I was like, "Yep, yep." So I had free beers the entire time. We stayed in the UK for another few days, went to Scotland. It was the best. That was probably the best fight night that I've been a part of. So
Nice. Did you pick up on any of the slang or any hip words that we say over here?
no, and any of me trying would just be an insult to everybody, so I'm just gonna keep that to myself. But no, it was great. It was a great experience, great fans. The atmosphere in the O2 is unheard of. So unfortunately wasn't able to be a part of it this past weekend. But we'll see. Maybe I'll visit again.
Now, hopefully you do come back again, and I'm glad that it's all positive for you about your experiences
Yeah.
over here. The listeners will really appreciate it. But I have a lot of listeners in America as well, and they think we're very posh and stuff, like the royal family, and you've experienced yourself. We're quite far from it. We're not really that posh.
No, no, it was getting so we stayed till the entire fight night and we're getting on to the tube or whatever you call it to get back to the hotel
Yeah,
and it is packed to sardines. I mean, you guys were the best. You guys were absolutely the best.
we're
Yeah.
patient. How's Australia, by the way? How's it fighting over there?
In Aus oh, Australia's pretty good too. The only unfortunate thing was the time difference. It was like 7 o'clock in the morning, so I was waking up at um, 4 to get ready to fight at 7.
Yeah,
Um, in terms of in terms of UK versus Australia, I mean both were really good. I still the sitting in the stadium and watching the fights with the fans and just the support that you guys have for the local fighters was
yeah.
really, really cool to witness. Um, Australia had some good fans as well, but it was surreal to be in the O2. So, close, very close. I've been to two very nice spots in terms of fighting. So, thank you UFC for paying for that travel. It was good.
Sweet. Take that, Australia. I'm joking, joking. Um, yeah, I'm going to rewind the clocks a little bit. I know your time's limited, but I do want to brush over some of your career highlights. But I do want to establish first how you got into the sport to begin with.
Yeah, yeah. No, I started MMA really as a way to get some street cred. So I'm like 15 or 16.
Mhm.
I'm 5 foot nothing, and I'm teaching at that point my peers, so like 16, 17, 18 guys, and I look like I like they could kick me over and take me. And I was like, you know what? And if I'm going to be teaching martial arts and teaching men, right, and MMA, kickboxing, well, it's more of a gentleman's sport. I have to make sure that it works. So I started MMA really just on a whim of me wanting to get in there. I was doing swimming and water polo at the time in college, so I wasn't necessarily full-time MMA. So I begged my coach, I was like, Mr. K, I was like, give me one. If I, shit the bed, if I suck, then
Yeah.
we never talk about it again. And so we trained for like a summer. I got out in May for college, and then we trained for the summer, had a fight in July, and it ended in 15 seconds. So then I was like, oh, looks like we gotta keep going. Like, looks like
Yeah.
we're gonna try. And that's kind of how the amateur career went. I went 7-1 as an amateur with 2 titles. And then, we both were kind of hanging out at a bar and we're like, you want to get paid for it? We're like, yeah, I think we get paid for it now. I think we should make that transition. So it's been really genuine, nice ride. Like I didn't start MMA to be in the UFC, but now that I'm here, obviously now I got to give it 100% and try to get myself some numbers next to my name. But yeah, it really just started on a whim of me teaching like teenage guys that were my age, and I want to be like, I know what I'm talking about. I know I don't look like it, but I can kick your ass. So
Crazy.
it's
That's
started.
actually
Yeah.
not what I expected to hear, to be honest.
No,
It's
no,
more
it,
like,
it,
oh, I
it
saw the first UFC pay-per-view ever and I got hooked straight away, or that sort of thing. But your story is quite interesting.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, at that time going into, so after my first fight, the funny part was my first fight was the same time that my dad was running his first 50 miler, his ultra marathon. So we're kind of crazy as a family, so it's kind of a whim. But then once I'm in it, I'm like, I'm gonna be in the UFC. I was messaging Ronda Rousey like on Instagram. I was like, I'm gonna be there, and thank you so much. So it didn't take very long for me to get the bug, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, the whole ride has just been, seeing what we can achieve. So it's been pretty fascinating.
Did Ronda Rousey reply to you, by the way?
Absolutely not. She's still yet to apply. So but maybe I get big enough in the UFC and she'll know who I am. But um, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
no,
you're really making a name for yourself, but I've got to ask you, what have been your UFC career highlights so far? That is the key
so
words
far,
so far.
so far, yeah. I mean, the honestly the O2 and the first win in the UFC was big, being
Mhm.
in enemy territory, so to speak. And then I think the last fight was a highlight of how I've progressed. I mean, I think, I'm not necessarily the youngest person competing at this level, and I really feel like I've gotten better and better every time I've gotten in the cage. And to get a dominant win over a veteran was
Mm. It was a
like I
good win
had
over Jessica Penney.
oh yeah, I had the most fun. It's very hard to fight in the UFC and feel like you are
Mm.
dancing, like you're like got it in the bag because everybody's really good and you can get clipped and you can get caught. And that was a fight where I was just having a ball. If you watch it back, I took the lettering of one of my gloves and stuck it on her face. We thought it was Vaseline in the moment, but I looked back and it was the gloves. So, so I'd say probably the first win in the UFC, and then I'd say Jessica Penne. Um,
You just got married as well, didn't you, before the
and
fight?
I did, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh
It was
my
a week
God.
before. Yeah, the week before the Jessica Penne
Madness.
fight, I got married. Yeah. No, so it's been pretty crazy. And yeah, it was good. It's a
I'm
good
sure
good month. Good
there's
month
going
in
to be more
October.
highlights. I mean, that itself, like winning, beating, a veteran. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
can't ask for a better week. Do
No.
you have any dream opponents?
Rose has always been kind of an icon for me. She's one of the OGs to get it done. She's still obviously competing not at 115. But her striking is phenomenal. I think going against somebody like her, I've really appreciated and respected Angela Hill. She was, a striker that was coming up as well. Um, I think those are probably the two. I really have a love for the striking game and being able to kind of do what you want with it. So I would say those two come to mind pretty quickly. Um, yeah, Angela Hill may happen. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rose probably is not going to happen. So,
Dana, make it happen. Speaking of Dana, what is Dana White like in person? I've never really
uh,
had that opportunity as a fan, but
yeah, yeah, no, I mean he's nice. I got to shake hands with him, shake hands with Joe Rogan. It's definitely been a crazy experience being in the UFC and having watched it for so long and then being in that arena in that regard in terms of going to weigh-ins and ceremonial weigh-ins. Um, but they're all really nice people. Um, yeah, I can't say enough.
when it comes to your MMA, what is your biggest inspiration?
Biggest inspiration. Um, I think it's probably my students. So, I think fighting is a very aggressive sport. MMA is very, very aggressive. There's a lot of ego. There's a lot of, testosterone, even though it's not as much as in me as it is in most others. But I think something that, I've had a lot of highs and lows, and the lows really suck. Like the lows really suck. And in terms of continuing, I can't afford to let somebody else or the people that I teach or work with see me give up, so to speak. So I think it's probably been my students. I think when I started this whole journey, I wanted to be unlike another instructor. So
Mhm.
in the martial arts industry, traditional martial arts, you've got an instructor that teaches for maybe 30 years and they're the hometown hero and they think all their stuff is the best thing since sliced bread. And I really wanted to be an instructor that was constantly challenging myself as well as forcing my students to challenge themselves. So I would say that it's the students. Obviously now I'm married, so that puts a little extra
Yeah.
grind into wanting to do well and succeed. But in terms of going into a school with, like the little kids, like 6, 7, 8. I have little kickers that are 3 to 5 years old that can't wait to watch me fight on the TV. Like it's the
That's pretty
cutest
cool.
thing, but
That's
like yeah,
cute, but it's cool at the same time. It's just like, yeah,
yeah. I mean that I think knowing that I'm representing or I'm showcasing a way for them to act, I think is really, really important. And yeah, so students.
if they can see their teacher doing it, that's the thing. They'll be like, I can do that. But also, like, they're learning from you and being observant. But to see you on TV or online or, how they would see it, that
Yeah.
must be pretty cool for you, but for them as well. So,
Absolutely. And fighting, I doubt that most of my students are going to be UFC fighters. If they are, then hey, you're right place to be because I'll teach you. But I think the other part is just the lessons, right? Like
definitely.
how much are you willing to fail? Live television in front of thousands of people, like you can do it, I can do it. How much do you want to succeed? So I think there's also a lot of life lessons in there that hopefully they take from it. And then, like I said, if they want to be a UFC fighter, I can help them out. I can give them some tips.
Wicked. Just two more questions. I want to know if there's any news or anything you can say about your next opponent or any hints.
So I don't think I'm supposed to say anything.
No, that's
I
fine.
know that it is signed, it is agreed, and it is before June is all I'll say. And outside of that, I won't
Okay, it's
necessarily
not
say
too long of
anything.
a wait till it
It's
does get.
not too long. Yeah,
That's not
not
too
too
bad.
long. Not too long. I'm in camp. We're getting ready, and all parties have agreed. So we're ready to throw down.
Wicked. The listeners can find out when this gets announced on your social media, which I'll put in the description below. But where can they find you on the old social media?
Instagram is the best one. Instagram, feel free to DM, comment, whatever else. Follow. It's Elise Reed MMA, and that's it.
Wicked. Elise, my signature question for you doesn't have to be about MMA or
Okay.
fighting or anything like that. Three dream dinner guests for your dream party. I want a quick reason as to why you want them there. It could be past or present, fiction, non-fictional, a cartoon character, anyone. It could be somebody you went to school with. Doesn't matter. But you're the host, but three guests. Give me the first one.
Mhm. Okay. I'm gonna do a group, but my water polo crew. My teammates from college, we would throw down hard. We've gotten kicked out of hotels before. My water polo crew. Shout out to them. Love them. I would say, hmm, I would say, like Tony Robbins, Will Smith, those like high speeds, people that are crazy.
Yeah.
I've quoted Will Smith to plenty of my teammates before where, I get on the treadmill. You and I get on the treadmill. I'm either going to die first or you're going to get off. Um, and then last one. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. I'd, who's somebody, I would say like, I'd say Rose. I'd say like, give me a high speed UFC fighter of like the people that have achieved the greatness and let me pick their brain there. So I'd say Rose Namajunas.
We've
Thug
got
Rose.
Rose, Will Smith forward slash Tony Robbins, and the water polo crew from college.
Yes, yes.
Love it.
Everything and anything in there. Yep, exactly.
Wicked, wicked. Thank you very much for your time. I do appreciate it. Yeah, good luck to your next fight. I'll be staying tuned and I can't wait to see it. Especially when it gets announced, I'll be excited. But I'll be rooting for you. So if the
Thank you.
listeners can give Elise a follow on her social media, Instagram, as she just said. So, let me try that again. As said by her, it's the best way to keep up to date. If you give me a follow on my social media handles and description below, that would be great. Like this video, subscribe to this channel. But for now, everyone, take care. Boom. Hey.